My name is Eric Gradman, and I am here from the circus, no joke. And Bit Circus is a small company. We're in Los Angeles, and what Ringling Brothers did with live animals and Cirque du Soleil has done with human performers, we're doing with technology. So, today though, consumers don't want to just go out and see a show, right? They're demanding experiences. People want to have new and novel experiences. And our goal, our mission at Bit Circus is to use modern technology to transform out-of-home entertainment experiences. We want to give you a show. We want to give you an experience unlike anything you've ever experienced before. So, hey, look, it's Saturday night. You want to go out with some friends. Do you want to see another movie? Do you want to go to another bar? Maybe you could go to an arcade and play games from the 80s. No. You want something new. You want something special. You might want to go to space. So, a quick poll before we get started here. How many of you have ever piloted a spaceship before? Right there. Oh, yeah. Okay, great. Okay, well, for those of you who haven't, let me set the stage. You're going to walk into Space Squad in Space. And Space Squad in Space is an experience for from 2 to 8 people. And you walk in there, it doesn't matter if you've never piloted a spacecraft before. You're going to learn. You're going to get good. And you're going to get good fast because the universe depends on you. So, in Space Squad in Space, you and your squad, you have to work together, right? You're going to be learning to pilot this spacecraft. There are consoles all over this room. You're navigating asteroid fields. You're negotiating with aliens. You're trying to keep your spacecraft from coming apart at the seams. It is a ton of fun. So this experience is incredibly immersive. And what does that mean? Well, let me tell you. 10 minutes in is my favorite part. 10 minutes in, this is after you've accidentally ejected the alien spacecraft into the unseeming void of space, but before you've gotten lost in the asteroid field. And at that very moment, life support in your ship fails. And I have witnessed, no joke, people hold their breath. That's awesome. That kind of engagement you just can't get out of a video game, out of a movie. You only get it when you put people into a physical space together. You let them run around, have a crazy time, play with these consoles. And the best part about this is that Space Squad in Space is episodic. We've built the bridge of a starship, right? And just like Star Trek, we can run different episodes in here. We have a whole season of episodes planned for Space Squad in Space. And so, this time, you're helping an alien get home after successfully negotiating a peace treaty with the human race. You save the world. If you have a good time, you're going to bring 6 to 8 friends back with you and have a different experience next time. You can keep coming back over and over and over again. And it's not the case that you will have experienced every possible scenario in that first episode. We have a blend of all sorts of different interactive elements in this room. And so there's a VR helmet that you're not going to use in that first episode. You're going to be staring at it the whole time, though. Like, when do I get to use the VR helmet? That's what you get to do next time when you come back. And there's all sorts of different elements that we mix and match with each interaction. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Oh, there's the bridge of our starship. This is so much fun. This is the brain. This is your unreliable narrator. Actually, she's kind of 7/8 of a brain. And you're constantly maintaining her brain chemistry, making sure that her dopamine levels are correct and her caffeine levels and her alcohol levels are correct. You don't want your disembodied brain not to have correct alcohol levels when she's flying your spacecraft. It's very important. So, Episode 1 of Space Squad in Space is actually live right now. You can play it right now, and if you're down in San Jose, it's running at the Great America Mall, and tickets are available. And Space Squad in Space is part of our Story Room brand. And our Story Room brand is all about creating immersive entertainment experiences like this that can be installed anywhere, at scale. Now, here's another one we did. This one's Cosmic Contagion. And in Cosmic Contagion, you need to uncover the whereabouts of a missing scientist. You have to unlock the secrets of an alien artifact. And, hopefully, and this tends to come up a lot, save the world. Always save the world. This one is pretty unique in as much as it also involves augmented reality. We actually created a device called the Phenomenoscope. And the Phenomenoscope allows you to uncover mysteries hidden in all of these physical devices that are also animatronic. And so you're running around the room trying to uncover clues everywhere. This is a 3-room experience. The first room, you're basically ransacking a lab. The second one, you're interacting with this alien artifact. And in the third room, you and your squad have to drive a rover out over the Alaskan tundra to rescue the aliens and the scientists. It's a ton of fun. Now, Space Squad in Space and Cosmic Contagion are our own IP, and we're very proud of them. But we cut our teeth doing this for brands. And so this is a mobile story room. This mobile story room we developed for the CW network to promote the premiere of The Flash. And in here, we gave visitors the ability to gain the Flash's superpowers. And so we were speeding up and slowing down time. We were changing the speed of gravity. We were giving people the opportunity to dodge arrows. We were testing their reflexes. And, of course, environments like this are great opportunities for creating original content. And so every person who goes through here is generating this trail of data. And I'll tell you, if there's one thing that people love more than new and novel experiences, it's sharing those new and novel experiences with their friends. And so we're making animated GIFs. There's me getting shot with an arrow in the middle. I shared that one. Every time you interact with any part of this experience, it's leaving this awesome social media takeaway that you can share with your friends. And people do. It's really remarkable. When you give people an experience like this, where they can show off in front of their friends, oh man, they love to share this stuff. So let me change tacks for just a moment. We do a lot at 2-Bit Circus in virtual reality. We took some early bets in virtual reality, and they've paid off. And, you know, virtual reality is only now starting to creep into people's homes. But until very recently, if you, as a consumer, encountered virtual reality, you probably did it as part of a branded activation. And there's a good chance it was one of ours. So this is something we did with Verizon at the Super Bowl, and we put 30,000 people through some very sweaty Oculus Rift headsets. and because in the early days being what, like a year ago, right? You know, it was as much about the presentation as it was about the content. So we thought very hard about how to present virtual reality in a way that really connected with audiences when they were out of home. And so this is 2 giant helmets, each of which contains an Oculus Rift headset. And when you put these things on and you immerse yourself in that world, it's not just about seeing what it's like to be a football player running a pass on the field, but you get to feel what it's like to be a football player running a pass on the field, because those things that you're standing on, those are haptic feedback mechanisms. And so as you run down the field in virtual reality, you feel impulses on your feet. You can feel it. And there's a vest that has a sonic actuator in it. So when the football hits you, you feel it. And it's amazing what happens in virtual reality to see people transported to another place. But when they're feeling the action too, it takes them over the top. So, of course, content is very important. And at 2-Bit Circus, we built very early on a production company to be able to develop the kind of virtual reality content that we needed to drive these experiences. But none of the technology existed, and so we had to build it from scratch. We built our own cameras. We built our own camera carts. We built our own camera helmets. Yes, camera helmets. Nothing looks more ridiculous than a football player wearing 6 cameras on the top of his head. And stitching software, the entire pipeline, the previs software, everything necessary to be able to produce content in virtual reality. We've created a full-service pipeline for creating this kind of awesome content. This one's great. So we got 30 minutes. You have 30 minutes. Mount the camera on the car and drive it at 170 miles an hour down the streets of Long Beach. So we made some great content. This was very early on to create an experience for IndyCar to give people the experience of what it's like to drive very fast. And This has been running since 2014. But it's not just a piece of content in a headset, it's also a seat. It's a haptic seat. And so people sit down, they drive around the track, and they see and feel what it's like to be a race car driver. We did, it's funny, for a bunch of nerds who know very little about sports, we've done a great deal of sports content. And so we did some 360 filming for the NBA with Samsung, giving people the experience of being a basketball player, along with interviews with basketball players whose names I cannot remember. And this is one of my favorites. We had the opportunity to collaborate with the U.S. Olympic Committee to build content for the Road to Rio, interviews with Olympic athletes, but filming some of the most amazing pieces of content. These athletes do incredible things. High dive, throwing cameras off of high dives next to famous divers, volleyball, the pole vault. The pole vault is awesome in virtual reality. So, it is the case that running a circus is all about fun and games. And for many years, we've been making crazy games. We brought them to conferences and events worldwide. Many times we came up to Seattle, actually. All right, so I had the opportunity to tell you about one game, so I'm going to pick my favorite. Does anybody remember Asteroids? Everybody played Asteroids. Asteroids was a laser-projected game, a fact that may be lost in the annals of history, but it used a very special type of projector that's very different from the types of projectors we use today. I love this game. I love Asteroids. But I wanted to make it gigantic. And so I put a laser projector up in the ceiling and used a Microsoft Kinect to track players on a 25 by 25 foot playing surface. And you can see this kid here. He's sitting in our playing field, and he is the ship. The ship is always there at his feet. When he rotates, the ship rotates. When he rolls around, the ship rolls with him. And he's got a single button in his hand, and he's looking for asteroids, but they're coming to get him too. And people around him are yelling, they're behind you, turn around. He's having so much fun. And when he pushes the button, it shoots out a little missile, and he can destroy the asteroids. Now, we also did this with wheelchairs. The wheelchair one was the best. I don't have a picture of that, but here's the thing about doing this game with a wheelchair. When you have a wheelchair, you can't operate the buttons. So what do? You say, pew! And every time you say, pew, it shoots another missile out. This one is so much fun. It's fun for the kid in the middle. It's fun for all the people around because it's really a spectator sport. Who knew that asteroids was actually a spectator sport? So we have built so many games like this over the years. Perfect. And we reached the point where we were no longer content merely taking these things out in dribs and drabs to corporate events around the world. We said, what if we could take all of these crazy high-tech carnival games we've created and put them all into one big event, our own event, where people could experience high-tech entertainment in a way they've never seen before. And we did it. We produced something called the Steam Carnival. And the Steam Carnival has been happening now for 2 years. It happened in Los Angeles, and it happened in San Francisco pretty recently at Pier 48. And oh man, at Pier 48 in San Francisco, 100,000 square feet of games, crazy high-tech games that we created. I'm going to show you a little bit of that event here. Steam Carnival had some amazing title sponsors like Cisco and the Cartoon Network, and we were able to create some games to really drive their brands there at the Carnival. We engaged over 15,000 people in the span of 3 days at our most recent event. It's really an incredible time. It is so great to see kids just having the time of their lives playing games like nothing they will get to play at home. All right, I got about 1 minute left. And I heard some laughs when you saw giant fireballs. Does anybody want to see more giant fireballs? Everybody likes giant fireballs. Anybody remember the dunk tank, the classic dunk tank? Everyone's been in the dunk tank, right? Well, we got rid of all the things you think you... I want to show another video, so there should be some more content after that. What you know about the dunk tank, we threw that away. We replaced it with fire. Here it comes. At 2-Bit Circus, we're also about creating spectacles. Spectacles drive engagement. Watch this crowd. Thank you.
Wow.
Do I have time to take questions?
Yeah, we have time
Cool.
for a question or two. Anybody,
Hit me.
Hi, you're on the internet.
Anybody have a question out here? Over here. Yeah, go ahead. Say who you are and ask the question.
Hi, I'm Paula from Oculus. How are you managing throughput? So 30,000 people, haptic vest, haptic floor, sweaty headset. How many units did you have? How'd you queue? Was there a reg system? Seems like a lot of people to get through.
Oh gosh, yeah, it was a logistics nightmare, and it involved lots of hardware, swapping out hardware as necessary. More recent installs have used Samsung headsets instead. It's just lots of logistics, lots of backup hardware, getting people in, getting people out. Yeah.
Cool, other questions? Right over here. Excuse me.
How do you handle everyone's different physical abilities, and how do you accommodate for as many people trying to experience it as possible, depending on their possible physical limitations?
Sure, I'm going to address that as it relates to the story room. One thing that we've very, very intentionally done in our story room products is there are many different things you can do in a story room. Not everyone is going to be doing all the same things. One person is piloting, one person is navigating, one person is making sure that the systems stay working. And we always have an accommodation for someone who can't stand, who's in a wheelchair, for example. And so people are still going to have fun in these story rooms, regardless of whether or not they're able to reach some of the consoles, for example.
About 30 seconds left. Don't stand next to the speaker. I just learned that. One last question over here. I'm going to run over and get you 20 seconds and say who you are and ask a question. Thanks, Kyle.
Kyle from Amazon Game Studios. What's next?
Oh my gosh. Well, we've had such a great time building these new kinds of experiences. We're trying to make them available to people 365 days a year, right? A carnival's great. Carnival brings these games all around the country, but how can we focus it? How can we make sure that if you want to have a good time on a Saturday night, you know that there will be a 2-Bit Circus facility near you where you can have an immersive experience?
So coming soon. Somewhere near you. I love
That's
that.
right.
Thank you very much. That was
Thank you.
awesome. That was great.